As was mentioned, my name is Lisa McCorkell, and in addition to being the co-founder and co-lead of the Patient-Led Research Collaborative, I am a person living with long COVID for the last 4.5 years. Thank you to everyone for your participation in this event, for dedicating your time and attention, for Dr. Marazzo for your leadership, and especially to all the patients who couldn't join us, and to the patients in person and virtual. Thank you for using your energy on this. I know it comes at great sacrifice. It's easy to leave these meetings with your head swimming with all of the information and no clear path forward. Well, I did my best to collate a very broad overview of what's been said here, online, and within the patient community to give a perspective on how we get from here to the next patient-centered long COVID clinical trials. So I'm largely regurgitating what other people have said and trying to catch a few important things that were missed. I don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to go fast, and I'm definitely missing important items, so please put up what I'm missing in the Q&A so we can make sure it's captured. In terms of the overall structure of Recovered TLC, I love to see us learning from existing clinical trial networks. In addition to mirroring processes and making improvements on those, ours should reflect the urgency and collaboration of ACTIV, and we need the meaningful patient engagement of the HIV/AIDS Clinical Trials Network. Can Hank even manage our patient engagement? Love the agent submission portal. Now we need patient and caregiver representation on the panel. We need patient input when choosing who is on the panel. And we need the criteria and scoring and weighting chosen with patient input. As an example, safety can have different thresholds and mean different things for patients. Also, data is biased. Preclinical and clinical efficacy data can have different levels of quality and meaningfulness to patients. For example, is it testing exercise or a video game? That's going to be a no from us. It's clear that we need both experimental and proof of concept trials and larger platform trials, with the network to be used to also validate smaller trials' findings. We need funding mechanisms for both, and we need a quarterback or Nick Saban to coordinate, especially for trials that are done outside of the network or not chosen from the portal. I nominate Michael Peluso. This could also particularly fit well in that's coordinating all ICCI research. It's also clear that we have to move forward on treatments despite not having fully characterized the disease. We have no time to waste. Trials are a great opportunity to do the biologically probing work necessary to characterize and phenotype. When choosing interventions, curative is top priority. It needs to be an accessible drug. Let's test a wide array of drugs. We need both new drug development and to test repurposed drugs, and we need to consider the end goal, that last mile, right at the get-go. Let's talk design. Remember post-exertional malaise. We can't ignore it, neither can you. Design for it, measure it. Keywords we hear over and over again that must be utilized for the types of trials we need. Decentralized, we need to get drugs to bedbound patients. Combination, adaptive, platform, basket, umbrella. We need to consider medication interactions and whether run-in treatment is needed to stabilize symptoms. Consider phenotypes. Who is responding and who is not? How is that impacting results? Screen for comorbidities like connective tissue disorders and reproductive health conditions. Use comparator groups of non-COVID IACCs like POTS and ME/CFS. We need to remember and plan for past and future pathogens and cannot leave folks behind who have been sick for decades. Remember what impacts symptoms and disease severity and account for that in design. Illness duration, seasons, mast cell triggers, that includes drug formulation itself. PEM triggers, menstruation, current medications, reinfections, bioreactivations. In terms of endpoints, we need validation of patient-reported outcomes. We also need to further study and develop objective biomarkers, which includes digital biomarkers, and we need that in parallel to working with what we have now, while also doing exploratory analyses. Many trials are already doing a great job of that. Let's learn from them. Design the trial using disability justice principles. Design it as an experience to be valuable to patients. Return results to patients as soon as possible and use trauma-informed practices. And offer expanded access, which is particularly important while we figure out the right endpoints and phenotypes to identify signals. If something is helping someone, don't take it away. And do a treatment waitlist for control populations, enabling folks to access treatment at no cost if it is shown to be effective. Populations, we have a responsibility to the entire community and to meet people where they are. those who are bedbound and housebound, transgender and gender diverse people, BIPOC, throughout the lifespan, and more. We need to consider safety, requiring masking, ventilation, consider digital equity, provide compensation, gender competent care, culturally competent care, establish trust, and we need separate pediatric trials. And consider including patient navigators who can help with all of this and should be a resource before, during, and after the clinical trial. We need meaningful patient engagement throughout, which includes more diverse patient and caregiver representation. I recommend using the patient-led research scorecards to help bring us to ideal collaboration, really treat us as real partners in this. Much of what has been discussed is in this Life Sciences article written by a team of us patients, so please check that out. Also in one of Ziad's recent reviews and in a forthcoming Cell article. Lastly, I'll say that as we build Recover TLC, we have to listen to each other, we have to learn from each other, we have to collaborate. Let's not have the downfall of this initiative be that we didn't get input from someone that we should have. Let's learn from people on trials that have gone before us. Let's learn from other countries. The stakes are too high. We must treat this like the crisis it is. Our lives are at stake. I cannot emphasize that enough. People are suffering. We need to turn this meeting into action, please. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who likely unknowingly lent their perspective to my presentation.